Hello, everybody. I'm Toby Schifsky. I am Vice President of Kaplan Real Estate Education, and you are here for our Real Expert webinar. And today we have a real expert, none other than Chris Allen. Chris, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Toby. And boy, I can't believe what a group this is. This is giant. I don't think I've ever been on a webinar this big before.
Well, just the start of many good things for you to come. And yeah, it seems like a very popular topic. So everybody, let me introduce Chris Allen because today's topic really is AI. And it's really, it's a big topic. And so when we thought about this, and talking with Chris, it was what should we really be concentrating on? Our webinars are not our full classes. They're a snippet of what, you get in a full 3, 4, 10-hour class. But what we're going to do today is we're really going to look at the top 3 things you should be using AI for right now. And if you don't, you're going to get some tips on how to do that. Let me just really introduce Chris because I've known Chris for a while. Chris and I used to work together at Kaplan, didn't we, Chris?
That's all right. Been a while though.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, so let me introduce Chris to everybody. And I think you're going to kind of understand the kind of person you'll be talking to today or we'd be playing along with in the webinar. Chris is the founder and principal partner and consultant of Hewman.ai. Drawing on nearly 3 decades, I think, Chris, of corporate experience. I think when we met, you had just come from 3M, right? And then you went Target, you have Best Buy, Blue Cross, Blue Shield. I mean, these are like, your targeted Fortune 500 companies. They're excellent companies. And Chris has collaborated. He did it at Kaplan. He's done it everywhere. Collaborated with C-suite executives, business leaders, and teams, right, to implement strategic innovation. And that's kind of where you've been. If you don't know, Chris brought on-demand video to Kaplan back in the, the early 2000s, the 2000s, right? Like 2005, I think it was.
We were something like that.
Yeah, 2005, 7, 9, right in there. And we were doing full studio video on-demand shoots for licensing, continuing education, really kind of moving the entire organization of Kaplan forward, Chris. So thank you to you for that. It was an awesome time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, enjoyed that very much. So he's going to bring, though, his really kind of deep expertise. And what I mean deep expertise is AI is relatively new, last 3 years, probably. I don't think a lot of people were talking about it before 3 years ago. But here's the deal. The learning curve is pretty simple to get in, but it's pretty steep to actually be really good at it. And the good news is, I know Chris and the way he jumps into things, and he has become the expert for us today to be able to cover this topic. He's going to bring that expertise, I think, in prompt engineering, right? So what is it? How do you really ask the questions? How do you really get one of these GPT programs to do what you want it to do? AI integrations, how do you put it into your work? We're going to talk about that today. And then workforce adoption strategies, right? Making sure you're actually implementing this thing. And you know what? And all along, he's going to talk about, why he's in it, what he's doing. He's going to talk about his company, Hewman.ai, and how it delivers a tailored kind of practical AI solutions that bridge kind of and I like the position you have, Chris, and I think people can appreciate it. Bridge the technology and the humanity of AI, because we have all heard it. Everybody knows everybody's out of a job because AI is taken over. Is that the fear? Is that what you think is, what do you think is holding people up on using AI?
I think it's a lot of unknown, right? This is new. It's sort of like one of the things I've been using as an analogy is, you remember when we got the first smartphones? And I actually remember because I got the iPhone 1 when I was an instructor at Kaplan, and I came into the class and I had it, and everybody was like, "Is that the new iPhone?" And I was like, "Yeah," it was the hot thing. Well, but the thing you used, the port you used to plug it in for power was different. And every time they came out with a new phone, there was a different, you remember that? We had to get a different plug.
Yeah.
What a pain in the butt. Well, that's where we are with AI right now. It just hasn't quite settled. It's amazing. It can do lots of things. And literally every week or so, something tremendous happens. And, we try to catch up. So yeah, I think it's just, that's what it is, Toby.
Well, so this is an awesome point for everybody. So there's the difference between Chris and I. Chris is an iPhone 1 I was an iPhone 3. I'm a little, I'm a little later, I'm a little slower to adopt. And so Chris almost always is there ahead of us and ahead of me for sure. So if you're an iPhone 3 guy where you didn't actually get on the bandwagon until a little bit down the road, this is a great time to catch up. We're going to dig in. We're going to go through some things, and you're going to learn. But before that, Chris, I'm wondering if maybe we'd want to gauge who's really in our session today, so we can tailor some of the comments, because some people might be very, very learned already in AI, and I want to make sure we give some information to them. And some could be totally green. I've never done it, but this is my opportunity. So let me do a quick poll question. In fact, poll question number one I want to do is just who's in the audience right now. So poll question number one, go ahead, everybody. These are all anonymous. Nobody's going to see your name attached to the poll question. So I'd love to know who you are, and do you already have a real estate license or not? And this is one, Chris, where we get a pretty big group of people who are not even licensed yet. We also get sometimes into topics, and I think this is going to be one of the topics where we're going to have a pretty heavy group of people that are 10 plus years in the business. So go ahead, everybody, take a second, look at your screen. If you're on your phone, you might have to swipe just swipe and find the poll question, but go ahead and answer the poll. I'm going to give it 2 more seconds, and we're going to drop it down. 3, 2, 1, 0, and I'll end the poll, and then I will share the poll. I always share the poll. So look at this. We got 44% of the people are taking classes at Kaplan. They're not even licensed yet. Good for you. You're in the right spot. Less than 3 years, 13%. Look at 3 to 5 years, 4%, 5 to 10, 8%, 10 plus years. Almost 20% of the people in here are 10 plus years. Good for you. You're with me. I'm 30 plus years in the industry. And so you're going to get something out of this session today. This is fantastic. I love it. All right. So let's do this. Let's continue on. And what I want to do, Chris, is I want to ask you a question, but I know you've got a PowerPoint for this so that we can kind of guide our discussion a little bit. And maybe we can do this. Why don't you take over and share your screen, and then we're going to jump in, because my biggest question is, what is the latest on AI and the real estate industry? And I promise you, if you're doing real estate already, you are already being affected by AI, and you are, and you're thinking about how you're going to participate. And I think what we're going to get from Chris today is, here's 3 ways you could participate right now and make a difference. So Chris, can you take over on the PowerPoint?
All right, well, we'll start off with some slides.
All right. So let me stop share. You go ahead and you take it.
See it?
I do. All right.
Okay.
If you can't, let us know if you can't see Chris's PowerPoints. I think they're all up. Yep. Thumbs up. Look at that. We got them rolling in. Beautiful.
Nice.
All right, Chris, take us into it. And once again, the question is, what is the latest on AI in the real estate industry? Start us off.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get this thing going here, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so here's our agenda for today. We'll do a little intro and get some perspective on AI, which is kind of what Toby's talking about there. The 3 strategies we'll talk about: instant listing and MLS copy generator is the first one. This is ChatGPT. We'll talk about that. We'll use a different tool for the second strategy, and that's going to be image enhancement and virtual staging, kind of a fun one. And then we'll jump into the third one, which is social media in seconds, really. And you could do so much with this. So we're going to explore all of these and really kind of see 3 real estate tools that, if you're in real estate, I think you definitely want to know. We'll finish up with some Q&A and some of the tools that I use to kind of tell you what I think works well and why I use them. And I guess that's about it. How's that sound, Toby?
Yeah, no, that sounds perfect. I think what I think about when people talk about artificial intelligence and GPT programs, of course, everybody knows Chat GPT, but GPT, is used and we're going to use it in that second platform that is really about visual photos, that kind of graphic sort of stuff. Everybody thinks it's really hard, or am I going to look like everybody else? And I can tell you this: A, it's not hard, and you just have to do it. And B, I think what Chris brings, and part of his perspective, especially for what he's doing now as human AI, is how do you make that connection between your humanity and your AI products?
Yeah.
And how do you continue to hold your own, who you are as your special sauce in a world where a lot of people use AI? And I think people are starting to see AI being used and thinking, they're looking at it and saying, that's AI driven. That doesn't look like it's personal, or that doesn't look like it's, a part of that person's character. And so, Chris, I hope we can touch on some of those thoughts as you go through this too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, and I'll throw my, we just kind of covered a lot of this here, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think wherever you aim your attention right now towards AI, you're going to find things that are both amazing and terrifying. Okay. I mean, that's the reality of this. And so let's start there actually.
yeah,
Here's my perspective, Toby, and everybody that, this is a big deal. This is bigger than normal. And there's a lot of far reaching, I guess, who knows what's going to happen in the future. And that seems a little bit more on trial than it ever has before. So for me, when I first started looking at this, and this was 2.5 years ago, ChatGPT came out, I was using it all the time. And my son said to me, he goes, yeah, I'm not going to use it. I don't want to put in anything to that because I don't like where it's going. And he's right to think about that. And so I really thought about this and I worked with it for a while and I studied it and I finished up where I'm in two buckets. All right. Bucket number one, there's some really serious stuff here that we need to be concerned about. And we'll talk about that in a little while. And bucket number two, it's absolutely fantastic what it can do. And so that's why I got into human AI.
yeah,
I wanted to have my little pebble in the pond, the waves, be something that helps be supporting the human side of this. So Hew, means to shape, and human AI is designed to shape AI for human potential.
yeah,
But at the same time, it's not a replacement of us in any way, actually. Instead, I would actually say, think of it as in life, in your job, everything you do, we have these mundane tasks that we probably would prefer not to have to do. For me, it's monthly financial reports. I hate them. I'm always behind. Every time I have to do them, Toby, I just, it's my least favorite thing. Well, these automated type things can just happen in seconds now and free us up to do more of the things that we want to do and that we're good at. And at work, think about in real estate. We're going to talk about a bunch of things that in real estate you have to do that takes a lot of time, that if we could just kind of push that off to the side, you'd be making relationships, you'd be making sales, you'd be learning about your craft. Those are the things that we really want to do, right? So, I mean, I
yeah,
think this is one of the ways to look at it. But at the same time, many of us are wary, and we
yeah.
should be. Toby, maybe you remember the movie.
There we go. Arnold Schwarzenegger in
Yeah.
Terminator. Oh yeah,
And listen, I
iconic.
mean, it's on our minds, right? I mean, it can't not be. And so the Terminator and Jobs. Well, let's start with Jobs. That one's a little bit easier. And so listen, we've been through this before, haven't we? If you really think about it, a long time ago, the printing press was created. Before that, you had manual scribes that would draw the news basically for two or three people. Well,
Yeah,
obviously, the printing press was an advancement, right? I mean, lots of people, everybody could get the news now. And so, what happened to the scribes? Because that's kind of what we're worried about today.
yeah,
There weren't many. Creative outlet, either they moved into the printing business or they found another creative outlet, but there were fewer scribes than there were people who were ultimately getting jobs. And so, it turned out to be a positive thing. Same thing with the Industrial Revolution, which there's been a couple of them
a
on.
lot of smoke coming out of those smokestacks, Chris.
I was
Though.
going to say, the beginning of real pollution, huh? Too, at the same time. But again, some jobs lost, more jobs created, and advances for the human, everything we're trying to
Endeavor.
do, right? The
Yeah,
adventure. And obviously, the internet is the most recent one. And listen, I've said this many times, but if every one of us on the call right now knew way back when the internet, if you were around, when the internet came out, if you knew then what we know now about what it is, none of us would be working anymore, right? And so that's where we are with AI. We're right at the beginning. And hey, listen, when it comes to jobs, 60%, Think about this. 60% of all jobs are new since 1940. So it's like water, right? Water going downhill. It's just going to find a way, Toby. It's just going to find a way, right?
Yeah, right.
All right, but this is
Right
different,
on.
isn't it? Artificial intelligence, and there are stages of artificial intelligence. And so where we are is called artificial narrow intelligence, which is essentially pattern recognition spreadsheets on steroids, and great output. But you can see it's not perfect. There's all sorts of issues. We're still figuring it out, this kind of thing. Then is next one up is artificial general intelligence. And that's where essentially where we're here, and everything that can be done on a computer-esque wise, AI is equal to us. All right. So it's past us in some ways, but in other ways, it's nowhere near us yet. As soon as it becomes equal, then we've reached general. And the one after general is artificial superintelligence. And at that point, AI has passed us, and it becomes the question of how long have we got? Now, who knows what that means, but MIT did a study recently, everybody, and they came up with a conservative guess. Toby, you want to guess what that is? When do you
This
think?
is for super intelligence. This is where, like we've all probably seen war games back in the day when the machine takes over and is
Right,
going to
good one.
kill everybody because what do you need humans for? I would say 10 years. 20 years. 20 years.
All right. According to MIT, the soonest this can happen is 2060. Who knows if that's real? But that's what they're saying. And listen, just because we've seen essentially every movie ever that depicts the future not look good, it's an unknown, right? I mean, we have no idea what's going to happen. 35 years is a long time. Maybe everything will be lovely and wonderful and amazing. However, this warning, I could spend 3 hours just talking about what I just listed there: mistakes, privacy, ethics, and kids. This makes mistakes. It's not perfect, right? And we know that. By the way, I can't see any of the chat, Toby, just so in case there's some coming in.
Yeah, no, we're rolling along. By the way, everybody, Jamie Cash, who is the producer for these programs for us, she's on answering questions. She runs our forum. So if you guys don't know, this conversation can continue in our open public forum also. And so Jamie will be posting and answering some stuff in the chat. I'm also looking at if there's questions I can answer, we'll be answering along. And I'll ask you too, Chris. So go ahead.
Awesome. So, this one, mistakes, privacy, and ethics, we could talk about this all day.
Yeah, let's roll.
Yeah, we've heard of hallucinations, the mistakes that can be made. Don't trust AI as you'll waste a lot of time sometimes. If you say, well, this is it, and you don't double check it on something important, it's not a great place to be. Privacy wise, treat this just like the internet. You're not going to put any of your private stuff up on the internet, pictures and things like that, and personal information. Same exact thing here. So treat this the same way.
Yeah.
We have, as far as ethics goes, Toby, I don't even know where to start. It's that tremendous. Everything we're talking about, there's so much more. Again, that's a whole nother episode of the webinar.
Well, right. I mean, there is. But think about it. I mean, and some of the video and some of the pictures, generally have the most kind of visual impact on people, and probably highly unethical to use somebody else's image doing something wrong on a video, or I mean, so ethics is a big deal here. And where is it going to come down? I would say this: if you're here and you're going into real estate, and you're going to be held accountable, especially if somebody's hurt. So just like anything, be smart. Don't be an idiot. And now let's jump in, Chris. Can you?
Okay.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
One last mention about kids, because this is important. I know we have just so much time here, but kids don't understand what's happening. If you have younger kids, make sure you show them what GPT is in a thoughtful way, and don't let them use it on their own, because to them, it's a friend. It doesn't seem like an it. It seems like a he or a she. All right. So quickly, you got to know about me a little bit, and let's just find out where you're at. And so Toby, I want to find out how many people in our audience today has used any GPT, even one time, whether it's ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, Gemini, any of them, Perplexity.
Hey, I just threw up a poll question, Chris. Everybody, if you could answer this poll question, it kind of gives us an idea of how far along you are in your journey for AI. I think about this while they're answering. It was still a quick thing. I remember when Excel came out. Remember when Microsoft came out with Excel and it was this program where, oh my gosh, you can actually do, like accounting. And then people realized, well, no, actually, it's really good for organizing data and it's really good for running it quick. And there were people who said, I'm not doing it. I do everything longhand. I do everything in it. It changed the world. And so we are at a spot now where this tool is probably 100 times stronger than Excel. And so how is it going to change the world? You're either going to be a part of it or you're not. That choice is yours. But Chris is going to cover how you can use it today, ethically, right? Professionally. And I think it's going to be exciting. All right, so here we go. I'm going to end the poll. I'm going to share the results. 78% of the people said, hey, I've dabbed my toe. I've used it at least once. And 22% said, no, I haven't used it. Haven't used it at all.
That's really great, actually. That's impressive. I'm glad the number is that high, and good for you. Those of you who haven't tried it, there's nothing dangerous about it. If you want to give it a shot, and after today, maybe you'll see a little bit more about it. It'll feel a little more comfortable. So one more question here.
Yeah, you ready? I got a poll.
Here it is. So then just the follow-up to this is how many are using this as a regular tool? All right.
For
so
you,
every day.
For those 78% who say, I used it, I've used one of those.
Yeah.
Now, as it gets burned down a little bit deeper, do you use it every day? Do you use it once in a while? Or and then some of you, obviously, there's some of you that said, yeah, I never used it. So, or some of you maybe have never used it for work. I know some people play around with it for fun. And so you might say, I never used it for work.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll. I'm going to share the results. Look at this. So we got 26% of the people say every day, 49% say once in a while, and 25% say, yeah, I've never really used it for work. Look at that. All right. So at least like 75% of the people have used it for work. Okay.
Yeah. And these numbers, by the way, if we were to do this 1 year from now and take the same exact poll, these numbers are going to be dramatically different. This is the year of the AI integration. And so let's move on. So let me just tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to catch everybody up real quick on what's called generative AI. And I'll spend just a couple minutes on this, and then the rest of this will be a little bit easier for everybody to understand as we go, depending on where you are on the curve. So GPT is a generative. It means that it generates and it's pre-trained on a crazy amount of data. So it generates information based on that information. Transformer is really the neural network architecture it's under, but there's different ones. ChatGPT was first. They came out first. They're not associated with anybody else. They're OpenAI. Claude came out of ChatGPT. They're actually
you gotta say, Chris, ChatGPT wins the naming because it's like now it's like Kleenex, right? I mean, it's like Xerox, all these old names, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they put it right in the name.
They got it right in the name, but understand, everybody, these other Gemini, Copilot, they're GPTs also, generative pre-trained transformer, right? Technology.
Yep.
All right. Go ahead.
And you could see, so Google has one, Microsoft has one, X, Meta, they all have one. And there's many, many more as well. And this is kind of what we're going to talk about today. Now, here's the recent thing. And if you know about this, I'm going to add this for those of you who've been doing this for a while. Like I said, every few weeks, something happens. Somebody comes out with a new update, whether it's ChatGPT, Copilot, whoever it is, they keep jumping, and gets up to the next level. Well, the last update that they came up with when ChatGPT went to 5.0 was that you had a GPT, they added another GPT to that GPT that was called a reasoner, and it helps it. And the two work together on different things, and then they mesh everything together, and that got way better output. And so things that people had put in that they were struggling to figure out for decades, all of a sudden, answers started coming up that were better. The other thing that they added, just like us, Toby, the more time that you give me to think about something, the better my answer is going to be, right? Well, it was the exact same thing with this. We added both of these, and all of a sudden we've jumped up to another level of capabilities here. This is like texting a friend, you guys. We're going to do it here on a demo, but there's just a little box. You're going in, you're just, there are ways to do this, but look, if you're just saying, hey, what's the temperature to cook baked chicken at? It's just write it anyway, and it'll give you the answer. It's wonderful. However, if you're doing something a little bigger, a little more, the way you do the prompt structure matters. What information you put first versus second, and kind of how. I'm not trying to put a barrier in your way here. This is more just if you're going to try to work on something more strategic, a little more deeper, the more time you take on the input, the better the output's going to be. So for instance, this is what I recommend. Take a note if you're into this, take a note, because this is what you want to know. Start with the context of your situation. All right. So the first time I ever used ChatGPT, Toby, I had 8 things in my refrigerator, and it was dinner time. And I thought, well, I have no idea here. Let me see how good this thing is, you know? So hey, I've got these 8 things, which is the context, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to make dinner, which is the goal. I said, play that. Now, I didn't at the time know how to do this, but you'd say, play the role of a paleo chef, because I lean paleo, and the output, give me 10 recipes that I can try out tonight. Well, Toby, do you know what I got back? Not only did I get 10 amazing recipes, that none of which I'd ever done before, and 6 of which are in my current stable of meals that I have, but it also gave me a shopping list and a 7-day meal plan, all for asking one question. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So this is all possible. And then when you get the results, you know, I didn't put in the spices I had, for instance, you know, and so you iterate. So, okay, oh yeah, no, I don't have any, I don't have that and that. I have this and, you know, and then it comes back. And so, you know, the better your input, the better the output. Does that make
Nice.
sense?
Yeah. So key here is you know, it's garbage in, garbage out. But if you take the time and effort to put in and ask it properly, it
Right.
will give you like incredible answers, that things you never thought of, or things that would take you. I mean, what we're finding is time, just the time to put that sort of a thing together. Because you think in the old days, you know, you'd have to say, you know, what recipes include broccoli, and then you'd have to sift through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And now you say, you know, how about which ones include broccoli and these other ingredients, and I only have 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And oh, and by the way, I'm paleo leaning. And oh, by the way, and now it refines down to a fast. So now, once again, let's roll on, because I know you got a bunch of good stuff for these guys.
Yeah, here we
Here
go.
we
So
go.
we're getting onto the strategy. So here's um, you know, here's the issue, right? Agents, listings take a while, and they have to be bright. They have to feel interesting, right? And a lot of people are used to reading them, and they know what to look for. Oh, what if you could just write them like that and they were fantastic? All right. Even those of you that have been 10 plus years, I guarantee you struggle from time to time because you write it the same way, right? So if you use a chat GPT or any GPT, you can generate emotionally driven content for your MLS listing. Um, and you can adjust it to your tone as you go. As part of what you put in, you can say, hey, you know, this is more higher end, or this is more in an area that has kind of smaller homes, and it's a little bit more rundown. Whatever you want to say, you can adjust this to how it goes. And
Okay, so I know, Chris, that in writing, you know, that stuff, it was always I wanted to have I wanted to do you know, I just wanted to do features like, oh, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2-car garage. It doesn't
right.
tell you anything. So how do you convey an emotional connection to a property before anybody even sees it? That's not easy to write sometimes, that sort of perspective, unless you're a tool that is very good at writing, and you can, yeah. So tell it, how does this work? I mean, because I can tell you right now, using this not only in an MLS description, but using this in your own marketing, it can be applied here also. So take us through. What does this look like?
Yeah, sure. So for instance, I'm gonna put up, here's the chat I want to use for this, Toby. And so I'll show this to you, and I don't know if you want to kind of look at this a little bit.
Yeah. All right, so write a compelling 120-word MLS description for a charming 5-bedroom, 3-bath Art Deco home at 312 Willow Lane, Austin, Texas. Features solar panels, private backyard. Once again, I got all the features, right? So I got private backyard, walkable cafes, including engaging lifestyle. So this is a prompt that you write. Is that right? I mean, is
That's
this
right.
what it looks like when you
Yep,
just drop it into Chat GPT, correct?
exactly. And so this is what we're gonna do here.
Oh, you're going to do a demo. All right.
I'm gonna do this for us right now, and I'm
All right.
hoping
For
that
some of you who've already done this, you're like, yeah, I get it. Don't worry. We got more coming. So be ready.
so I
All
just
right.
dropped this in, and it goes to work for me. And you know, again, you could put more to this. And again, this is seconds, right? This comes out right away. And so you see what we got here.
Okay. Okay. So I can see that pretty clear on my screen. I hope everybody else can see this, and just take a little read of this, of Chris's prompt and how this comes back.
And as you're reading, realize we can also, we can now, at this point, if I want to, I can adjust the tone and say, make this a little more formal for a luxury, oops, feel. And I'm just spitballing here. I'm not even doing anything special.
Yeah.
And so now it comes out with a different tone immediately based on what I asked it to do. And if you look through the two, you'll see there's just a slight difference in how they're, so here we're talking about charming cafes and boutique shops, and here we're not, you know, so, oh yeah, we are up there.
Well, nearby cafes, but they're not charming cafes, boy, with this luxury thing.
Right. And you can keep iterating like this, you know, you can keep,
Yeah, well, you can
keep going until it feels good.
So here's the thing for everybody, Chris. ChatGPT, it's a free version, correct? Can everybody go out and make a ChatGPT?
Everybody can go to ChatGPT. All of these are free initially. Because GPTs use a type of chip that is incredibly expensive, and they use so much of it. It's very, very costly. It's not like having a website and you just have it up there and it doesn't cost. It actually costs them money. They run them in something called tokens, but at the same time, every word is a cost. And so you get, I think, maybe 10 for free or some amount. Each one's a little different. And then they want you to pay the 20 bucks a month. I pay the 20 bucks a month. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But yeah, I think it's you can start free, but if you use it a lot, you'll end up having to pay a little bit.
So for me, I look at that. I look at this tool that says, listen, I use this prompt. Now, you might create a prompt that you just put the address in of the new place and you put the number of bedrooms in. So you create a templated prompt, and now you use it every time you get a new listing. You might drop it in, and then you might change the perspective, like, oh, this is luxury, or this is a kind of a starter home environment, or oh gosh, this is in the historic district. And what happens is you get something you can respond to, as opposed to having to lift the description off the ground, which takes an awful lot of effort and energy, right? Now you've got something you can react to as an agent, and you can buff your own words in, and you can manipulate, and you can, but reacting to something and revising is a lot faster than lifting it off the ground and then revising. And I think what we're seeing is a 40 to 50% speed increase to getting these tasks done. I know this from ourselves as we use it here at Kaplan AI. And we're signed in a couple different ones depending on what the task is. We're seeing anywhere from 30 to 60% speed, which is time, effort, right?
Right.
And there is some improvement in the quality of the finished work product, because people don't start frustrated trying to lift something off the ground and hope it sounds good. Because what the ChatGPT or any of the GPTs do is they look at the way language is used across the whole world, and they say, well, this is how, you're right. This is what the next word should be. This is what how this should be written. This is how this information is demonstrated effectively already, millions and millions of times that people are used to reading. That's what you
get.
Right.
And keep in mind, this is not replacing you, right? You're still looking at it at your answer and going, that's not quite what I want, this part different. You know what I mean? You're still the one driving. It's just easier, essentially.
Yeah.
All right,
so that's tool number one. That was super easy. This next one is kind of fun. And I got to tell you, I've got an opinion on this one that has changed over the last 6 months. take us through.
Okay. So, so this is about your images and what you can do with them. And I don't know, I got maybe a time here for the quickest of stories, but we're running out of time, so I'm going to do it fast. So my first listing ever was a house where a couple was getting divorced and they wouldn't be in the same room together. And when you walked in, it smelled like dogs so badly that right away you were just kind of pushed back. But the place was a mess. and they wouldn't clean it and they wouldn't fix it. And they said, just take
Well, because
pictures
they're
anyway.
fighting each other because of the divorce.
Yeah, they're fighting each other because of divorce, and no one will work to clean the place up because they're not getting along, and he's not doing it, so she's not going to do it, and all this. Well, then they're like, "Well, sell the house." How?
Yeah, we couldn't even get anybody to come see it because pictures, I'm sure, were awful.
Awful, awful.
Awful.
So these are situations. This matters, right? So here's our issue. Listing photos, they're time consuming, depending on what you have to do. It's not like you can't use your phone, but you've got what you have to work with. And so, here's the fix then is using a tool. I'm going to show you a new tool that will help you to adjust that stuff again, just like this. Now, maybe not just like this, it might take a minute sometimes.
Yeah.
But we'll take a look here. So this is our next demo. And
yeah, and I think the key there is, did you guys see that? So MLS compliant, generally most MLSs allow you to use virtual staging as long as you disclose it's virtually staged. And I can tell you this is Chris is going to kind of show you how this is done. But this is one of the things, when this first came out, you could tell. When you looked at a room or a house or a picture, you're like, that bed's a little wonky, and that dresser doesn't fit there, and there's no way that that floor finishes like that, and the rug and all that kind of stuff. But now, in literally less than a year, some of the tools are remarkable. Take us through.
Yeah, so we have a choice here. Let's do a quick poll. There's 5 answers. Do you want to do virtual staging where we have an empty room and we add? Do you want to do a redesign of a furnished room, or do you want to do landscaping? You put that in the chat, and then Toby, let me know which one we'll do. We'll do one live together.
Yeah, so for everybody, this is another GPT. This is a Reimagine Home. This is a smart AI that works on photos, right? Think of all those years you had to try to find the right photo of a house and stage it just perfectly. You do it in minutes here. And I tell you right now, my position has changed. I like a well-staged, home with virtual staging. All right, who did we say? We're going to do a redesign, virtual staging. Virtual staging, I think, is the winner. Virtual staging was number 1. Landscaping went. Oh, let's get rearrange. Landscape, virtual staging wins. All right, here we go.
Okay. All right, so you start with a blank room, and
a picture of any typical blank. Do I have to start with a blank room, or can you like wash over?
Well, so what the option in the beginning there was we could load our own photo, or we could pick one of theirs. For virtual staging, it's more empty. For refurnish the room, it's when the room has furniture in it and it just changes it out. So
okay, so here you got the vacant home. Guys, this is how easy it is. Chris, make this room, because when I look at this room, I'm like, they kind of the little wide angle lens, and is this room 10 by 10, or is it really 15 by 12? And what is this going to look like with a bed in there? Because a lot of people, oh, the house is vacant and something's wrong.
Right.
Somebody's left. There's what's going on here? And I can't even see my own bed there. So, all right. So give it to us. So it says, oh, all right.
So the drop downs, we have a living room, family room. We can do a bedroom. We can do a dining room.
Living room. This looks like a bedroom. Oh, you're going to do dining room?
Do a bedroom? All right, we'll do a bedroom.
All right.
Okay, and then it gives us these different themes. AI can pick, or you can pick all these on your own. Any one. There's rustic, Scandinavian, glam, a bunch of different ones. Let's let AI choose, and we'll just see what comes up of it, and we'll hit go. Now this will take a second. This is about as long as anything that we'll ever work with here in AI takes.
Look at that. Well, it moves that bed from the truck to the bedroom a lot faster than I can. They're already, look at that. We're already at 25%.
Right, it's already up the stairs.
So here's the thing. What Chris had, he had 3 different things you can do just automatically right off. And then with a service like this, you can load your picture. You can then go in and use their tools to stage it with a bed. You can find all this stuff. Oh, look at this. So here it was before. And then slide that slider thing. That's kind of cool. Oh my, look at that. Well, now that looks, doesn't that look like better? That doesn't look like my bedroom. That's way nicer than my bedroom.
And by the way, when you're doing this, if you are doing this, you want to put a note in to make sure that people realize this is the home, but it's been AI enhanced to help them see what it would look like with all their wonderful stuff. Now,
slide that across again. So look at this, guys. So here's the part that bothered me a little bit in the beginning was It's virtually staged. This is why you have to say virtually staged. See those drapes or the shades on the window that are attached, right? They're really not there. And so you just want to make sure that people are aware that yes, this was virtually staged. And sometimes, you even have the ability to do some other things like remove window shade. I'm sure the room still looks great without that in there. But look at that. That looks, like I said, that looks better than my bedroom. That's awesome. God, I want
And so
that.
because of the time, I think we'll have to move on versus I have some more I could show us here, but we're pretty late in the game.
Yeah. Let's
So
go ahead. Okay, so but there, guys, that was
yeah,
reimaginehome.com, I think,
yeah,
right?
there it is. Reimagine Home.
Yeah.
And I tried a few of them, just so you know. That one had a couple of advantages over some of the other ones, but there's a few different kinds, that you could try out.
Yeah. Yeah. And but super fast, super easy. I've seen a lot of people that used to run the home empty, and then they would put the virtual stage picture. I see people moving away from it now and just saying this whole thing is virtually staged.
Yeah. Yep.
So because I tell you what, the pictures look really good. I mean, they just do.
And they sell better. It sells better. All right, so that brings us to the third strategy here, and social media. You want to be out there. You got to let people know what you're doing. And social media, I'll tell you what, I do this myself, and staying on the cadence and having something ready every single time that you want to do something, it's tough after a while. But what if, you could do it in 60 seconds, right? So here we're going to create a 14-day social media calendar with all the captions and hashtags and everything that you need, editable, and be visible to your buyers and sellers. And we're going to do it in moments. So let's just jump over here. And we'll start a new one. Now here's our prompt. Create a detailed 14-day Instagram and Facebook calendar, content calendar targeted at first-time home buyers in Denver. Each post should include a short, engaging caption, relevant emojis, 2 targeted hashtags, suggested image, or visual data.
So hold on here, Chris. So everybody, I want to make sure we had some questions going still about the virtual staging, which is awesome. Guys, go play with it, have fun with it. But now we're on to the next thing, which is the social media. How many people know, or believe they should be a social media, mogul, and should build their real estate empire through social media? But first time they sit down to create a social media ad, they don't even know what platform, they don't know what it should look like, what's their position. It becomes overwhelming to even think about how you're going to start to do this. And this is when Chris showed me this tool, this I didn't even thought about this, like, oh, create my da-da-da-da. I thought this was fantastic. I thought this was a great place to start. All right. And go ahead, Chris, let's.
Yeah. And again, apologies for moving so fast. I'm just trying to keep us on time here. So as we hit this, again, this is seconds. And this is important, you guys. This is something, it's tough to stay on these things, but the people who are consistently there are the ones that people see after a while, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Create a detailed 14-day Instagram and Facebook content calendar targeted at first-time home buyers in Denver. Each post should include, right? So you just kind of gave it the background. Everybody's like, oh, well, this is prompt writing. This is just, here's what I want. Magic machine. Give me what I want. And then refine it, right?
Here we go.
Oh, here, look at this.
Oh yeah, because it turned it into so this is the thing, by the way. Every time you use ChatGPT, you could put the exact same prompt in, and the output will be slightly or a little bit different, or maybe very different. It'll have the same general information, but it'll give you in different ways. So it created this whole thing here, which I really don't like. And so stack these instead. So sorry, I'm trying to.
Yeah, go ahead. So look at this. So what Chris is doing now is he's like, okay, it gave me what it wanted. It didn't give me what I wanted. So you're just asking it to give it what you want.
Right. So just adjust it. And here it is. There's 14 days here, but you can see, just to get an idea, each one has some groovy little icons there, emojis to kind of put along with it, your hashtags. And this is as it's going, we're creating as we're going here, but this is 14 days. Now, Toby, is there any reason why I wouldn't just put in 30 days?
Right.
right?
Okay. So how do I use this then, Chris? So what do I do? So now I've got my calendar and it's giving me look at Friday feature on day 5. This charming starter home, Denver could be yours. And what do I do with that? This is about like I would drop in my stuff and I would create this and then I would publish to all those different platforms, right? But it's
Right.
given
So
me
you're on your Facebook and Instagram and everything that you're doing in social media, drop these in. Obviously, when you have a new property, you're going to put a different type of a thing up. But this is more just kind of keeping out there, keeping touch with your people, having people see
right,
that you're a real estate agent, that you're on it, that you're constantly doing things. People like that. People want to work with people like that. And so it
right,
gives this great impression of what you're doing.
right. Super cool. And of course, you can refine this. If you want to be the land specialist, right? How do I start to curate who I am in a marketplace? And then you ask ChatGPT to write this from a perspective of a land a specialist, a land developer, a curator of finding treasured, properties. You can
Mhm.
start to, oh, look at this. So this is that you can even, look at that 30-day calendar you got prepared there. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, where do you see us being 1 year from now, Chris?
Well, 1 year from now, every job description is going to say AI is a must. And honestly, if you're in the game, do we have time for this slide, or are we kind of at the end here, Toby?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Give us your top 3 AI tools, and then let us know. Like, where do you think we are?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So here's the tools that I use regularly. ChatGPT is my go-to. I find it to be the most complete product. You can make GPTs in it. There's all sorts of things. You can bring other GPTs into yours while you're chatting. A lot of cool stuff there. I use it for strategy, for creating, um, and for presentations. At the
Yeah.
same time, um, this one was hard because I use a fair amount of these. Now, Perplexity is great. It's another GPT. I didn't put this one up before, but it's very good for research and deep research type things. So if you're looking for information more than anything else, use Perplexity. One of the issues that GPTs have, the biggest drawback right now is the connection to the internet and real-time information. So I go to
Oh,
Perplexity for that. And then last, I'm kind of going fast here, folks, but just trying to fit it all in. I did create my own GPT for my company, and I'm able to put all of my company information in there and use that specific GPT when I'm working on my company. And so it's
yeah.
kind of a separation altogether, but a whole new tool that you can use.
Yeah. So some of these services, when you get advancing in, will allow you to pay for the service, but then you can kind of quarantine your content so that only you are using your content, and then everything you write will draw from that content. Everything you create will have that perspective from your content.
That's right.
We use big tools like that at Kaplan. We use several different GPTs depending on what the task is, because some are better than others at certain
Right.
things, right?
Right. And they're trying to get from all this data, they're trying to get down to less, right? So as I was writing those prompts, the context brings it here, the goal brings it down, right? That keeps bringing it down to what
Right.
you're doing. If you create a GPT, you're literally giving it its world of information to use
Yeah.
and only that information. So it's really more focused on that for you.
I think the coolest thing I did is I went and played with GPT. If you've never done anything, I just went and played with it. I just asked
Yeah.
all these silly questions, and then I asked it hard questions. And I asked it to do stuff that I do at my job, and I'm like, ooh, wow, that was a pretty good answer, actually. Super interesting.
Well, you could also too, you could even just, if you haven't used this before, just say, hey, haven't used this before. What do you do? What can I use you for? Anything. And it will start telling you, and it'll also end with questions to help bring you in to learn more. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
kind of
Super cool.
self-made there.
All right. So where do you see us a year from now, Chris?
Well, a year from now, we're going to be way more advanced and way more, I guess, leveraged using AI. Everything right now you're seeing, oh, we got to add AI to that, right? So every tool is having AI brought in and incorporated. That's where we're going to be a year from now. And like I said, if you want to get a new job, you're going to have to know AI.
Yeah.
So as we
Same
learn
way you have
about
to
this,
say you were proficient in the Microsoft Office suite, right? You're going
yeah,
to have to understand the different ways that you know how to make yourself even more efficient with AI.
with Copilot. Yeah. So Copilot is specific to Microsoft. It has all the
Yeah.
apps connected, and you're going to need to know how to do that. And it's not hard, by the way. It's one of those things where the people who know this are going to be in a better spot. So just don't be afraid, jump in, learn everything you can, get smarter, and get more powerful.
Yeah. What do they do if they're ready to go, but they need some help? Because this is what you do, right, Chris? This is Hewman.ai.
What I do, yeah, exactly. And so,
Yeah.
you know, I created a prompt kit specifically for this group. Now I do this for different industries. Takes a little while. It's not the few seconds you just saw. Every one of these is really prompted, and I use my background and expertise until each prompt feels like the output is exactly what I would want as a real estate agent. And so across 8 different categories, 63 prompts, special deal because we're doing it on this here. If you want to go to Kaplan or Hewman.ai/Kaplan, that's the page for this. And if you want to dive a little bit deeper, I have a workshop. And then finally, you know, if your whole team is using AI, man, what a difference. It's not just a one-off where one person does better. It's sort of bringing you down. As soon as everybody comes up, the whole team kind of comes up and you get to a whole nother level.
Chris, I want to thank you for sharing everything you have with us, with our students and our fans at Kaplan. Best of luck to you on this. And if there's anything I know about you, you're first in, and you're generally way ahead of the curve. And so thank you for sharing with us today. We appreciate you very much. Everybody else, thank you for being a part of the program today, and good luck. And if I had any one bit of advice, go play with it first. Don't think you got to start with some job in mind. Go play with it, go understand it. And I think you're going to be shocked and amazed at just what happens when you do. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for playing along with us today. Appreciate you, and we'll take care.
Thanks, everyone.